Welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we encourage people to explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. There are no admission fees, only the honest open. There are no admission fees, only the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. And today, my friends, we continue our conversation with our friend Jayce, discussing his recovery and his entry into professional wrestling. The chains of addiction are no longer there, and you're working on keeping them off. Tell us about your forage into the wrestling arena.
Yeah, so it was weird. I was kind of, I got out of rehab at a few months clean, I think 2 or 3 months clean. And I kind of just sat down and, I was wondering what I was going to be doing for work. And I was wondering what, like, if I was going to go back in the field that kind of was my self-destruction. Um, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to do this right. And I sat down, I ask myself, what's been my dream? I was a college baseball player. I played
Oh,
baseball, all over the world. It was never really my like passion though. It was never really my dream. Ever since I was 6 years old, I can remember watching my first and I know a lot of wrestlers say this, but I can remember watching my first wrestling match with my grandmother,
oh boy.
and yeah, and I just fell in love, and from then on, and like I was always like the outcast, not the outcast, but like my friends were just like, why do you like wrestling so much? It was just like one of those things. And when I started this dream of professional wrestling, I was 140 pounds, fresh out of rehab. Like people thought I was crazy when I told them I was going to be doing this, but I put in the work. I gained the, I'm now at 220, 220 pounds, and people now look at me and they're like, "Wow, you really are a professional wrestler! Like you did it, dude." But this is just the beginning for me. Like I have so many goals and ambitions for this wrestling stuff here within the next year or two that it's just a dream come true. Sometimes I have to pinch myself that to know that this is actually happening to me. You know what I mean?
So, how did you address the people, Jace, that pointed out the things that why it wouldn't work?
Um, honestly, I was like, maybe they're right because I had some self doubt too. It's kind of a crazy ambition to go become a professional wrestler, especially where I'm from. Um, my parents are pretty, by the books people, and they believe in just having a job, going through it, doing your thing, making money and stuff like that, which is fine. And they're hardworking people, but like I was always just a little bit different, and instead of like running away from that, I decided to embrace it, embrace me being a little bit different than everybody else. And this was the perfect outlet for me. So, I kind of said, you know what, maybe I am crazy, but I'm going to do this and it's going to be fun. So, and it has been, it's been a blast.
So, tell us about some of the wrestlers that you first became acquainted with and say, wow.
I mean, there's been a ton. There's really good people in this business. I'm sure Mike will tell you that. I've met some lifelong friends for sure. Cole Carter, he was in my class. He's a great kid. We're roommates, and he's one of the most hardworking individuals I've ever met, and he pushes me to you know become better. People like Facade have he's taken me under his wing and really showed me the ropes and been nothing but nice to me. Like these people are genuinely good people as well. And as long with the people that I've met in the rooms and everything, I can count on these people that I met in wrestling just as much. And it's really a blessing.
So, tell us about some of the wrestlers that you became acquainted with when we were watching with your grandmother.
My favorite wrestler growing up was Shawn Michaels,
Ah,
Stone Cold
yeah.
Steve Austin, Brett. The first match I can actually remember, the first match I ever watched was WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, and
Oh boy.
like that's Mike probably knows, but like that's still like a match I watch all the time. And I've always liked wrestlers and everything. I've never since I was like an athlete, I never really like idolized other people. in that way, if that makes sense. Like, I've never had heroes in that field. My dad's my hero. Those people, I don't know them. So, but I definitely love, a few different wrestlers and watching their work. I'd love to meet them one day, and hopefully I will. You know what I mean?
Well, we often talk about the difference between arrogance and confidence. Of course, there has to be some bravado put out among your when you promote yourself, however. But when I look at a guy like maybe a Stone Cold Steve Austin, there's that guy exudes confidence.
Yes, absolutely. And as he should. He's one of the best to ever do it, and that's something I'm learning still. To exude that confidence, just because in order for me to be confident in something, I have to be good at it. I'm still very new, so I'm doing my best, but I guarantee if you ask anybody, I'm the hardest worker in the room, and that's something I can say confidently.
So if someone's out there and say, "Wow, how does one even become a wrestler? You just don't show up at a ring, put on tights, and jump in."
Yeah, there's a lot of training that goes into it. You got For me, it's one of those things that, like, I think that anybody who can become a professional wrestler. To me, that's unfortunate because I think there's a certain amount of athleticism and training that needs to go into it before you just step into a ring. Um,
So how does one get involved in training when one sits on a couch and says, "I want to be a professional wrestler"? Where do you go?
I'd say get your butt up and go to the gym because that's what I had to do. Like I said, I was 140 pounds before I stepped into a wrestling ring, but I made sure I was in shape and I didn't look like a fool going in there. But it's a dream for everybody. So whoever wants to do it can do it. All you have to do is find your local promoter, local wrestling company, and give them a shout and see if you can try out or whatever
Okay.
their case may be. It'll cost you some money, but it was well worth it for
Well,
me.
where does one go to get the instruction on the various what you do?
I was trained at Iron City Wrestling Academy here in Pittsburgh, and my trainer Chris LeRusso was great, and they basically just had me try out and asked me to sign up, and I trained for a year with Chris,
Wow.
and it was very rigorous. I'm sure anybody will tell you, but that was for IWC, International Wrestling Cartel, who I wrestle for now, among others. So,
Tell us about paying your dues.
yeah, I think everybody has to do that. That was something that was very important to me because I came at a later age. I had to prove myself in different ways, like working hard. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the most athletic guy in the world, but I will work harder than anybody. And I'll say that flat out. And so paying dues, I kind of took a leadership role when it came to like setting up the ring and everything like that. I made sure it was done on time and done right. So the class that I came in with was amazing, and they worked hard as well. So it was great. Um, but yeah, I'm still paying my dues. I'm still trying to get in with other companies across the country, and I've traveled to Chicago to set up a ring
Ah,
before. So I'm still out there working.
so do wrestlers promote themselves? Do they have agents? Is there a booking company?
Yeah, it's pretty much promoting yourself. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I I'm still trying to get better at that. I'm not really big into Facebook or Twitter or anything, but it's just a requirement, something you got to do. So I'm learning, but that's something that'll come with time.
How often do you wrestle, Jace?
Um, it's been tough during COVID, but Cole and we travel together. Cole Carter and I, and Facade as well. I've been able to stay really busy. While unfortunately a lot of other people haven't. I've been wrestling pretty much every weekend. This time between Christmas and now has been the longest I haven't wrestled,
Ah,
um, because of this new Corona and everything like that, which is the way things go. But I'm sure it'll pick up again here soon, hopefully on a weekly basis.
okay. So I think I'm getting catching a theme here. that the basis of the foundation of what you have and build on is your recovery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And uh, that's a reason, one of the reasons why I picked this platform, because I think there is something to be said about recovery in wrestling. And that's a message that I want to spread. And, it's just the fact of me getting out there and being able to talk to people and things like that, because it is a big problem in wrestling, drugs and alcohol. Um, but I think it's something that, the proper message hasn't been sent out there. And I think I might be the guy to do it.
Well, one of the beautiful messages that you can give is to say, yeah, yes, however, here's what I did about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, being that my story is similar, I think that some people in wrestling might find similarities between, my story and theirs. So it might help some people, Like I said, if I could just help a few, then it's worth it.
Well, and again, you might be the only big book that people ever see, Jace.
Yeah.
So you talked earlier about some that mindset. And we often talk about there's an addictive mind, which is immediate gratification, impulsive, reactive, emotional. And then we talk about what is a really dangerous mind, and that's a clean mind. And a clean mind says that I've learned so much, nothing will ever happen to me again. I've gone through all this pain. This will never happen to me again. And that clean mind begins to think that, you know what, I've learned so much that I can successfully drink again, or I can do this, or I can do that. And it convinces us that we're an invulnerable. However, a clear mind is not a mind of fear, but a mind of awareness. So, could you tell us a little bit about going from that clean mind to the clear mind?
Yeah. That was something, that I made sure I was on top of, because I made that mistake before, multiple times. So I, the last withdrawal I went through was complete, I almost died. Um, and because I didn't get the proper help and everything, and I was literally days away from dying if I didn't go to the hospital. So I remembered that was something that still keeps me sober today, is remembering, and this is kind of weird, but remembering the worst parts. And I still remember the good times, because let's face it, there was. Um, but I remember the worst parts, and I'd never want to go back there again. That's been the biggest thing for me, and I know that I'm not confident, or I'm not cocky enough to say that I'll never drink again, because I don't know that. But I have to take it, one day at a time, as they say, because I know I'm not going to drink tonight. I know I'm probably not going to drink tomorrow. So that's all I can say. And I know I don't want to, and I know I'm not. I just have to take it a day at a time, like I said. And anybody that tells you anything different, I think is not wrong, but they just need to think a little bit harder, because anything could happen at any point of their lives.
Well, Jace, our minds have a difficult concept with forever. If you sit on the couch and you're saying to yourself, I'm not going to drink, and you're that clean mind or that addictive mind says to you, forever?
Yeah, yeah.
Forever's a difficult concept, but we can always handle
Absolutely.
we can always handle right now. Would you like to have a drink,
Mhm.
sir? Not today, thank you.
Yeah, that's all it is. And trying to think about it too deeply, and like you said, thinking forever, like really. I've been there, I've done that, and it never seems to work out. My mind just can't process it. So I like thinking just, not right now.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not today. Well, if you had anything to say to anybody out there that's watching this and says, wow, man, well, you're a professional wrestler, you have a job, you're doing all these great things. What message would you have to say? What takeaway would you like to give to our audience?
I would say, the biggest thing for me is chasing your dream, because like nowadays it's so hard, being in the business world and all that stuff, and like you're so pressured to do that, go to college and all this stuff. Like I would say to anybody that's looking at me as an example or whatever it may be, to sit down, figure out like what you've always wanted to do, and no matter how stupid it is, no matter how many people are going to tell you you're crazy, go chase it, because why not? We have this one life to live. Like, it's worth a try, and and you never know, it might just work out. Because that's what's happening to me, and it's like I said, I have to pinch myself sometimes because it's so cool.
Well, it sounds like you have a wonderful message and would be a wonderful motivational speaker, Jace. How would a person contact you through Twitter or whatever? Let's say if they wanted to have you talk.
I would say go to Facebook. It's just under Jayce Karr, Jayce, Karr. That's the thing that I look at the most. Or you can email me at jacecar at gmail.com.
Cool, cool. Well,
Yes,
you've
sir.
been delightful, and I'm so proud of you. I'm proud to know everyone in recovery, and you certainly are one of my heroes, Jace.
I appreciate that, man.
So, at the end of every podcast, Jace, we often offer a free prescription: fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations. And we often suggest to do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself, forgive another. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.